he is actually arming police in the United States with a greater degree, and value of weaponry, military weaponry, than even Trump was. And so I wonder, just what would you say about that, and the role of the media as a society descends in the way that it is today into authoritarianism?
Well, I would say the media was pretty bad under Obama, too. Nobody looked at Obama's policies. They looked at the fact that he was a person of color and young and charismatic, and kind of ignored what his policies were, which were as bad or worse than Biden's. Obama's assault on civil liberties actually outdid those of George W. Bush. He immediately, as soon as he took office, catered to Wall Street instead of the victims that had suffered under fraud from these large financial firms and banks. That's part of the bankruptcy of the media. It's all about image as opposed to substance. I think that failure on the part of the media to report accurately and honestly has preceded the Biden administration, although you're perfectly right that the reporting has been appalling. Biden was one of the primary architects of that Democratic decision led by Clinton to transform the Democratic Party into the Republican Party and essentially push the Republican Party so far to the right it became insane. That was all Biden. The Omnibus Crime Bill, he was a major author of the Patriot Act. The Omnibus Crime Bill vastly expanded our prison population, militarized our police. Biden bragged about it at the time. I think he increased the number of federal crimes that merited the death penalty from a handful, 1 or 2, to 50. He used to go, I think, 51. He used to walk around and bragging about it. Under Clinton, they were responsible for doubling and tripling sentences. So you have 40%. We have 25% of the world's prison population. We're 4.4% of the world's population. 40% of the people in our prison population have never been charged with physically harming another person. We have people serving life sentences for drugs. That was all Biden. And, of course, the militarization of the police was all Biden. And I think that's part of the problem with the liberal class, is that they don't have any real contact, or they don't have relationships with people who have suffered from these kinds of policies. I teach in a prison. Half of my students wouldn't be in that classroom but for Biden and Clinton. And I don't know how, and not only have they suffered horrendous injustice, but so has their families, their children. I don't know how you could walk out of a prison classroom and then turn around and vote for Biden or support Biden. But I think that there's, for so much of the liberal elite, the suffering in this country is very real, not only among communities of color, but among the white working class. And much of my family comes from the white working class in Maine. That's all real. And to write these people off either as super predators if they're black, or as deplorables if they're white, just shows how bankrupt the liberal elite itself is. And of course, that is, I think, portrayed in the kind of echo chamber that has built up around Biden, as you correctly point out, lauding what are very meager, crumbs really tossed to working men and women, while once again Wall Street and large corporations swallow staggering sums of money. This is just a playbook that we've seen going back to 2008, and that's what Biden's continued. But it's a very dangerous route, and it's one that's going to, I think, has potential political consequences that are very grave for the country.